Today we discuss the Acolyte, the boys, Final Fantasy Dawntrail, and everything we've been up to. All this and more. This is Nerds with Mics. Hello, and welcome to episode 151 of Nerds with Mics. I'm Travis.
I'm Justin. We seem a little rusty.
We do seem a little rusty because it's been a minute. Surprise, surprise to all our listeners. It's been a minute.
During that intro, the reason I was laughing during the intro is because I almost forgot to do that and I had to scramble and hit the right one real fast.
Yep.
I was too distracted by all of our technical difficulties leading up that the people who are watching and or listening will never know.
You would think it's like riding a bike, but clearly it is not for us.
Yeah.
But yeah, so this is episode 141. No, God, 151.
151.
As our as our food bars continue. But yeah, today honestly is going to be just a catch-up episode. It's going to be all the things we've been up to, whether it's stuff we've been watching, we've been playing, combination of both. Or listening to, for that matter. So without further ado, we're going to get into what we've been up to. A couple of those things we're going to dive a little deeper into because it's things that we've watched that we want to give our thoughts on. So it's going to be a pretty straightforward episode. Then obviously next week we'll get back into just regular content. I think Justin and I have already spoke about what we're going to do next week. I think it's going to be the games we've enjoyed so far of 2024 and what we're looking forward to that still hasn't came out. Game and movie wise, or even TV wise, but also what are some things that's been released that we've been let down by? And I'm sure we might get some of that right now. But before we get too far down that rabbit hole, let's start by talking about that big question, what we've been up to. So Justin, I'm going to let you start with the basic stuff. Yeah, I'm going to let you start and then I'll go and then we'll get into the things that we've both been into afterwards.
All right. So this isn't on my notes. I just thought about it. Whenever we left off, I was in the middle of a Brooklyn Nine-Nine rewatch. Happy to say we finished that. So rest in peace, Andre Braugher. You will be missed, Captain Holt.
Is that what made you go back and rewatch it? Was that like a ode to him?
Yeah, that was like the catalyst. That's why we did that. I went back this past week, I think it was, and jump back into Star Wars Jedi Survivor, which I believe you beat when it came out, right?
Oh yeah, I went straight through that game. I love the story. Have you not beat it yet?
Yeah, no, I got about halfway, and this is gonna sound dumb. I got stuck in a puzzle, and I was just like, "F this! I'm taking a break," and I never went back to it. But watching the Acolyte kind of gave me that Star Wars itch, and I hopped back into it, and loved it. Yeah. Finally just churned through it, finished it, beat it today, actually. So
let's go.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it and I can't wait for the third one. I kind of hope. Can we talk about spoilers with this game?
This game has
been like a year, right?
Yeah. So if you don't want to hear about Jedi Survivor, skip ahead probably 2 or 3 minutes, but yes, go ahead.
Try 2 or 3 hours. No, I really hope the third game, and I'm sure it will, tackles his temptation to the dark side. Because like he's already kind of throwing. I mean, he definitely embraced it multiple times, which was awesome.
Are you kind of mad that it forced you to do that?
No, because it's a story. It's not like I don't feel like this is a game where I make decisions.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
If it was like Knights of the Old Republic, then yeah, I'd be mad. But
because you have to use it. Like you can embrace it, but you have to use it.
Yeah, you're like getting beat down. The lights are going out because you're about to die, and it's like embrace the darkness. I was like, oh heck yeah, let's go. But that last one also happens after Marin says like, no, don't do that. Like, I can't lose you to that, and he's like, F it, I'm doing it anyway. So, and I definitely think that the next one will be probably the edgiest. I'm surprised how many people we lost in this game too. We lost a lot of characters. The Vader fight was pretty sick.
Do you expect him to show back up? I did not.
I did not. And it was a surprise when he did, because like you're taking out those waves and the AT-ATs and stuff, and then you're like, oh, I'm just gonna walk back, and collect the archive stuff, and he just pops up. I'm like, oh my god.
And the
Yeah,
fact
it's
you got
pretty
to play
nerve-wracking.
her in that fight scene was awesome. And
Yeah,
like she
I
got
like
pretty
playing.
close to like killing him.
She did, yeah, and I feel like she felt stronger than Cal, which makes sense. I mean,
Oh,
she was a Jedi
yeah,
Master, yeah. So I
100%.
like
Yeah.
that. Yeah, she felt stronger. She had different abilities, which I thought were pretty cool. So, not anymore, but yeah, I really hope we get a third one. Really liked it. I do feel like the first chunk of that game is probably paced a little poorly, because I remember even playing it at the time, I was like, it hasn't really grabbed me yet. And then I feel like when I came back into it, it must have been at the right time, because it did start slow for me again when I picked it back up. But like, I feel like it just kind of thrust me into this action. So I feel like Act 2 and Act 3 are way stronger than Act 1. But also like the beginning of Jedi Fallen Order is pretty, like, it just kind of throws you into it, and it's pretty great too. So yeah, really liked it. I hate that it took me this long, but I'd like to thank the Acolyte for making me have that Star Wars itch. So
Who did
bravo.
So I got some questions before we move on, if
Yeah.
that's okay.
Yeah, of course.
So who was your favorite character in the game? And also, were you expecting, I mean, obviously we knew oh boy was a little fishy.
Yeah.
I think that's where they hook you. They're like, oh, he's a spy. But then the big plot twist is, oh, he's also a Jedi.
Yeah. When I'd actually say Bode is might be my favorite character of like the new ones. Not like overall. I think Cal. I like Cal quite a bit, and of course BD1's great. But
I liked his story, like, because he's torn. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, he wasn't like brought up as a dark force user or whatever. There was one point in the game, actually right before the reveal, when we were fighting. Oh gosh, I forgot the guy's name already, but that High Republic Jedi that you fight, I forget his name though. Dragon?
is that the guy that could grow limbs back? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, yeah. And at one point I thought Bode was gonna die there, and I was like, oh, if Bode dies, I'm gonna lose my mind, right? And then like he turns on me like 5 minutes later, and I'm like, oh man, what a dick.
Yeah, because that happens right. The reveal happens right after the Vader fight, doesn't it?
No, the Vader, he's the one that leads Vader there.
Oh, that's
The reveal
right. And
happens
then you end
before
up
because
chasing
you
him
get
on
the
the speeder,
compass.
right?
Yeah, you get the compass. Yeah, and you get knocked out on the speeder during that whole kerfuffle, and that's when you take over as Seer. That's it, right? Seer. But anyway, loved it. Glad I went back to it. I've kind of had an itch where I've been going back and replaying some games. One of them was actually Elden Ring recently before Erdtree came out. Man, that game is just so like, I don't know if it's my thing. Like I've almost beat it, but like I just don't know if I have fun when I play it. It just feels more like a social obligation. Like the
and I
world.
have a couple of buddies that went back and played the DLC, and it's all over the place. Like, oh, you thought like the base game was hard, like the DLC is like super hard, but then like people totally just overlooked like the thing that you were supposed to upgrade to make it easier to fight the bosses in the DLC. They just like, because you have all these people that went into the last game, like the base game, overpowered, but then they go and they fight like the very first enemy, and it's like, nope, can't stay here, seats taken. Like, so you have to basically re-level up a new, I think it's like some kind of shard or something, but like there's like 20 of them. But yeah,
Elden Ring is a game. Yeah, Elden Ring is a game that like tests the theory that, do I really like exploring in games? Like I always say I do, but maybe I don't, because sometimes in that game I'm walking around like, oh, I need to find this smithing stone so I can make my sword better. But then I have to fight like 8 behemoths on the way, and I'm like, God, like I'm just exhausted, This is rough.
You said I don't want to do that. That doesn't sound
fun.
I
just want it to be handed to me, No.
Yeah.
But another big game I've been playing is College Football 25. Which it did launch with some issues, which EA has addressed. This is a game that has been basically 10 years in the making, it feels like. And they released this game only on current gen consoles. So Xbox One and PS4 have been left out. And as a result, it actually does feel pretty next gen. The game feels significantly better than the last Madden, which isn't really saying a lot. Like I said, there are some bugs, some issues, but it's super fun. I think I already have like 30 hours in on it. It just came out, I think, last Tuesday for early access, so less than a week, and I've put some significant time in. It's just fun, and that college like atmosphere for college football, if you're into that, like it's just a really great game. If you like Madden or if you like football, get it.
How's the road to glory? I read mixed things because like you get like choices like, oh, do you want to go to class or would you rather go to the bar, or like, and then you have to like text girls or not text girls, and it's just like,
so it's not as like, it's probably not as interactive as you would like. So you have every week you have an agenda, and you have so many energy points, and you get to kind of divvy them up how you want. One of them is studying, and you have like a GPA or like a readiness meter for your exams, and it tells you like when your next exam is. You just have to maintain a 2.0. Like I kept a 3.8 doing barely anything, so it really wasn't that hard. But occasionally you'll get a text that's like, hey, we're going to go out after curfew and go to a party. Do you want to go? And one of the things you have to manage is your social life to build up followers and to like be, an influencer, I guess, which is kind of lame, but that's just the reality of things today. And there's a risk that comes with that. You might get in trouble and you might get suspended for a game, or you might get benched for a game. You know what I mean? So if you get caught, so I've honestly kind of played it Mr. Goody Two Shoes. My influencer rating is very low because I just want to play football. I'm not there to make an Instagram video. So I gotta find my shoe. Sorry. But it's just it could have been a little more in depth in that regard, but this is the first version of it. So I'm looking for, I'm loving it. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it's like a solid 8.5 in my opinion, but I'm definitely excited for what they do in the future as well.
Yeah. Well, very cool.
On top of that, I got a couple more things and then I'll pass it over to you. Throne and Liberty. Have you played that?
No, I have no idea what that even is.
All right. You should download the beta on Steam. It's an open beta right now. It's an MMO from NC Soft, who I believe are the people who made Guild Wars 1 and 2. And they also,
it's also being published. My language, baby.
Yeah, it's also being published by Amazon. So I don't have all good things to say. So apparently this game did originally launch in Korea and got destroyed. Amazon then got the rights. They're trying to bring it over here. And what I played, I really liked. And visually, it's the greatest looking MMO I've ever played. It is like a next gen MMO graphically. I enjoyed the combat, which that appears to be a hot button issue on the Reddit for this game. And there's also some question as to whether or not the monetization will be crappy. But what I have played, I really like. Now, I keep stressing what I have played, and that's because I got to a point in the game where it would just crash every time. So it's an open beta. I'm not going to hold this against it in the long run. The game will be free to play when it launches in September, and I will definitely try it out full release then.
I'm hitting request access for playtest right now.
It should grant it immediately. But
really? Okay.
Yeah, so my playtime has been my playtime has been very limited because this crash, and I'm not the only one. People on Reddit have said that they are also getting crashes at certain parts. So I'm just kind of waiting for a patch to either come through or just for the full release in September. But I definitely have my eye on it. Now, if it launches and it's monetized into scumbaggery, I'm not.
Yeah,
I'll probably still download the free, because it's gonna be free. But I probably won't put any considerable amount of time into it. But yeah, I kind of like where it's going. I think it's pretty good. And I'm gonna ask you, Travis, do you play 14 with a controller or mouse and keyboard?
I play with the mouse and keyboard, but I would like to get more comfortable playing with the controller so I can play on my Legion Go when I travel.
Gotcha. So look up a tutorial on YouTube. That's what I did, and it's pretty solid. But moving from 14 to this game, the controller support is really, really great. So it was like it just worked. So I really liked it. And then I kind of talked about this a minute ago. How I want to go back and revisit some games. Elden Ring is one of them, and then Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I didn't finish it when it came out. I got about 20 hours in. I'm going to be honest with you. There's a part, if you played the game, you know what I'm talking about. There's a part in the middle where it just kind of becomes a little more leisurely, and I just kind of got bored. And then I think other things came out. Yeah, so I need to eventually get back into saving the world and figuring that out. So I don't want to go back to 7 Rebirth. I also want to go back to Tears of the Kingdom because I haven't beat it yet either. But I'm very close. So
I've played less than 2 hours of that game.
Why?
I just couldn't get into it.
Or 7 Rebirth?
Tears, because the building aspect I just did not like.
Oh man, there's so many cool things you can make though. You can make like planes.
They just made it too much of the game, and I don't know.
You can do it as simple as you want. I mean, you don't have to like make some crazy contraption each time.
Yeah, I might go back and revisit it at some point.
Greatest game of all time. One of them. I don't know. Travis, what have you been up
to? Your mom. No,
nowhere.
Yeah. So I watched the movie If, which is the John Krasinski movie about imaginary friends. Have you seen it?
No, I haven't, but I had someone spoil it.
Well, all I'll tell you is I wasn't ready for the first like 10 minutes of that movie to hit me like, you remember the beginning of Up? Where you're like, oh, like this is so happy-go-lucky, and then they like just keep going through time, and then as things progress at the beginning of the movie, like just bad, sad things happen. It starts off that way, and I was like, what have I gotten into? Like this is not what I expected. But it was good. I liked it. Also watched that new Glenn Powell movie, Hitman, on Netflix. Did not care for that movie at all. Was not a fan of that. And
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Okay. Who do you think is more famous right now? Glenn Powell or Pedro Pascal?
Currently, right now?
Yeah.
Glenn Powell.
Really?
If you're saying right now, if you say
like
overall,
just in general, who's the most famous between the two?
Oh, no, Pedro in general, yes. But in the now, like hot topic, Glenn Powell. But no, just
the
overall,
only reason I ask
is Pedro for sure.
Okay, now this was about a month or two ago, and this is going to make me sound like a boomer. I don't care. Someone on the Rewatchable subreddit or Facebook group posed the question, who has Glenn Powell overtaken Pedro Pascal as most famous? And my first reaction was, who is Glenn Powell? So I was like, obviously that's a no. Now, obviously, since then, he had this Hitman movie come out. He's going to be in Twisters, I believe. And there's, I think I heard a rumor where he might be Batman in James Gunn's Batman movie. If that happens, then he might overtake Pedro Pascal. But like, I didn't know who he was. Like his name just, I didn't know him.
Yeah.
What else is, I know he was in
I can
Top
tell
Gun,
you. So,
right?
So he was in Top Gun. Then he was in that movie with Sydney Sweeney, Anyone But You.
That's a
Yeah. Anyone But You, which was a new rom-com that actually did really well at the box office. It was very well received. And then he was also in, like I said, Hitman. But he's not been in a ton. Now he's in Twister, but he's just all over the place now. What's funny is when Top Gun Mavericks came out, he actually initially tried out for the role of Rooster, which was played by Miles Teller. And then he didn't get a call back. And then Tom Cruise personally called him, was like, because he didn't apply for any of the other roles. He was like, well, I basically like just want to be like, have a role that means something. And basically Tom Cruise just told him like, you just got to play the hand that you're dealt right now until you get to where you want to be or whatever. Something similar to that. And then he ended up doing essentially. Yeah. But I guess he liked Tom Cruise liked Twister so well that he texted him and said it was a great time. So I don't know. But yeah, he's just been kind of all over the place here lately. But no, just in general,
he's kind of having that Pedro Pascal surge that he had a few years ago with like Mando, Last of Us, Wonder Woman.
Yes. And then obviously when Fantastic Four, Gladiator 2, and Last of Us Part 2 comes out, like it'll
and
just
Mandalorian.
Yeah, and Mandalorian. So, you know, Glenn could have his time because Pedro is about to be popular again. Did you watch? I can't remember. Did you watch Game of Thrones?
No.
Okay, then never mind. Uh,
I'm watching House of the Dragon though, and I love it.
Good. Yeah. We'll talk about that. I've also been playing through just in my downtime when I'm not playing Final Fantasy. So a couple of buddies of mine who record the podcast, the Testing Room, they have what they call a video game book club where they play through a game together and they discuss it. And currently they're playing through the Mafia Definitive Edition. And I never really played the Mafia games, so I'm actually playing through it with them. So that's been kind of the game I've been playing on handheld. Man, that game is like a totally different game, and it's really pretty.
Awesome.
Like
it is.
Yeah. So I've been having a good time with that. And I love the quality of life things they added, just like being able to skip story when you're driving if it's not important to the story. Being able to turn off simulation so you're not like getting pulled over every 5 times that you go above the speed limit. So that's been really cool. And then outside of that, been playing a lot of Final Fantasy Dawntrail like you, which I know we'll dive into. But the next game I want to start is I want to either do, because I didn't do a playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3 yet, and I also haven't really dove into Elden Ring. So those are the 2 games. One of those 2 will be my next game until probably the fallish time. I'll try to go through those. Depending on some of the games that's coming out the end of August. I know Black Myth Wukong, I think, is coming out. So I'm excited about that. Hopefully it doesn't bomb. We'll see. But yeah, outside of that, that's all I've been up to. I do want to go see Twisters. And then obviously we got Deadpool Wolverine coming out very soon.
This week, I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, Ellie. She just meowed literally right into my microphone.
Good.
Yes, it comes out. It's the 27th, I think.
Something like that.
Because I will be in Raleigh with Maxwell when that comes out. So we won't be able to go see it, though, because we'll be busy. And I'll talk about why at the end of the podcast. All right. So let's dive in a little deeper into some of the things we've both been doing and kind of like cover it a little bit more in depth. So we've both been playing Final Fantasy Dawntrail. We have both finished the campaign. Do we each just want to take our turn talking about what we think about the quality of life changes that's come with this update, talk about the campaign, what we thought of the story overall? We don't have to get super story like spoiler heavy because it is still relatively new. But I would like to hear your thoughts about like Wook Lamont, what you thought about the overall story and the overall changes that's come with Dawntrail.
Sure. Yeah. So, yeah, I beat it not too long ago. I played through with a group of friends where we would kind of play the game independently, but then we'd meet up and do dungeons for the first time together, except for the raids that came out last week. That loser Greg, if you're listening, he played it without us. And so did Connor. So screw you guys.
Yeah, my friend group, we played at least through 3 of the 4. We just finished the 4th one this morning, actually.
Oh, the raids?
Yeah, because you get a bonus for finishing them in a week, I think, or something like that.
Yeah, and then it resets tomorrow, so you can get the new gear.
Yeah.
I remember playing this game, Dawntrail, on the first day, and about 3 hours in, I thought, "Am I going to?"
Now, were you playing pre-release?
Yeah, early access.
Okay.
So I'm about 3 hours in. I think to myself, "Am I ever going to use my weapon?" Because the first 3 hours or so, very little, no combat really. It's all like
it's
heavy story.
Yeah.
And if I'm being honest, at the moment, so I started. I don't dislike Dawntrail. In fact, I think I really like it. But my initial opinion of it was very sour because it kind of
like
thrust
overall
me
or in the beginning.
In the beginning, just like on the first day, I kind of had like
gotcha.
You know, because it kind of threw me into this story that it felt like I had zero stake in, but I had to care immensely about because that was the game.
Because you're not one of the main characters, essentially.
Yeah, and like that's even fine, but like it's basically this political conflict that, for the most part, is peaceful up until a certain point. Very far down the road, it's just a lot of bickering and like sabotage, but not like violence until later. But like, yeah, I saw a lot of memes that was like, I am the cameraman. Like basically I could have stayed back in the old expansion and this story could have happened without me for the most part. But I did like it. I know Wook Lamont has received a lot of hate. And I think the hate is unjustified, but I get it, because we're basically introduced this new character in the last patch, I believe it was, and now she's the star of the entire show. So it's like, why couldn't someone else that we have known kind of carried this? So,
well, you get
it's just
with some buddies at least.
What?
You get reunited with some of your buddies at least.
Some, but I mean, most of them though are like completely background characters. Like some of them just like Grahatia, like he barely shows up. I mean, Thancred and Urianger are like hardly in it. I mean, it's pretty much Estinian. I mean, they're all just kind of like background characters, like in a big way. Like, which I get it. Like that's perfectly fine. It can be a whole new story, but it just felt, the first half anyway, felt very bland to me. I'll stop there, because the second half I have a totally different opinion if you want to tackle your opinion on the first half.
Yeah. So me coming from, obviously I spent a ton of time trying to catch up because I had started later than most people. I really wanted to try to get to 90 so I can enjoy the story with the group of friends that I play with. You know, so I spent so much time grinding that by the time I got there, I think I was maybe 20 days out, or maybe I finished with about a month before. You know, and obviously, and for all transparency, I played the first game, the first expansion, and then I skipped all the way and played through Endwalker. So there was a chunk of story that I missed, which I did go back. Before I went into Endwalker, I watched all the content leading up, so I knew what was going on story wise. But I did play through and watch all the cutscenes and everything of Endwalker. And I will say, without spoilers or anything, because the Endwalker was phenomenal, right? Like I felt like you took the culmination of 10 years worth of content, and the Endwalker was the end game of the story that was leading up to that point. I felt like, you know what I mean? It almost kind of felt like end game with some of the characters, you know what I mean? So going into that, I was like thinking to myself, like, where do you go from here? Right? Like you ended on such high stakes with such an emotional roller coaster of a ride with Endwalker. Like what happens here? Then I get into Dawntrail, and I'm like thinking to myself, like, I am definitely not the main character, which is different for me, which I heard it was similar, I think, in maybe Stormblood, where you weren't like the main character. You were also kind of like a side character. I'm not sure. I can't remember which one it was. But anyways, I felt like going into this, I love the new settings. It's bright, it's vibrant, it's colorful, the music and everything.
Oh, I love that part.
And they introduce Wook Lamont, which is kind of like a character that's like in line, but also has to compete against other characters for the throne after her father. And it turns almost into like a Game of Thrones-esque like thing. But to your point, it starts off friendly, and you're like, where is this really going to go? Right. But Wook Lamont grew on me throughout the game. At first, I felt like she was kind of like a whiny emo teenager in the beginning, right? But as she throughout the campaign, like she becomes more sure of herself, and like she becomes a better character along the way, which I think is cool. So going into this, I felt like, and this is just the beginning, and then I'll turn it back over to you to kind of continue. Marley's going crazy. She's not a fan of what I'm saying. But anyways, I felt like it was a good palate cleanser coming off of Endwalker into this. And I am curious if they continue the story after this, like where it goes from here, because it was like, I went into it thinking it was one thing. Once that first thing resolved, it completely went a different direction. I'm like, oh, okay.
It almost became like an end of the world type deal.
Yeah. Yeah. Which I did not see coming, but I'll turn it over to you, kind of let you finish your thoughts on that, and then I'll give mine.
Yeah, so on the second half of the game, I'm not going to dive in too deep because the game did just come out like 2-3 weeks ago, and it's a big game. I don't want to spoil it for anybody. But the game definitely takes a turn about halfway through, and the stakes are raised, and the motivation and the stuff that's actually happening, and some of the reveals during this time are awesome. Like when geez, I'm just not gonna say it, but when people are like, I don't know who that is, you know, I was like, oh shoot, like that's great.
When I heard the term, and all I'll say, and this hopefully doesn't give any spoilers, but when they literally used the phrase "in the cloud," I was like,
yep,
what the fuck?
Oh, she must be in the cloud now. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh no.
Yeah, it was. I really loved the second half. It stuck the landing. And one thing I will say too, because I feel like I did kind of dog on the first half, I still enjoyed it. It just kind of felt like,
Yeah,
is this
it just
it?
took a
Because I kind of
while
thought,
to.
well, I thought that was going to be like the whole vibe, of like the
Yeah,
whole thing. I'm like, this can't be it. Like, and luckily it wasn't. Um, One thing I will say though are the dungeons are the best.
the
Like they are the
mechanics,
best. Yes, they are the
especially those
best
new
they've ever been.
raids.
Yes.
And like the thing is like once you go to those and you do your duty list and you go back and do some of the older ones, everything feels so slow. Like when you're trying to get out of a big AoE and you're like, oh, I'm not going to make it. And you're like there and like 20 seconds pass by. Like, oh no, it was fine. And now
Yeah.
like, it's like you have to be looking at the queue and you got to be reacting like right then. Like it's wild.
It's pretty insane what they did with the dungeons. And I mean, it was really good. I'm glad it stuck the landing. I'm excited to see where the post Dawntrail content goes, because we should get like 5 to 6 little mini chunks of quests.
And I
5 to
can't.
6 chunks. We'll get more than 5 to 6 quests. We'll probably get like 30 quests. But
all I'm saying is when the Savage content drops, because it's already hard enough. Like when the Extreme and Savage content drops, it's going to be crazy.
Oh yeah.
I tell you, those raids, like I was talking to somebody the other day about those new raids that just came out, and you're like in a ring and stuff. I was like, this feels like an MMO version of like Super Punch Out. Like that's the vibe I got. Like each character has its theme, it has its own special set of like move list, and like I just got that vibe, especially because it's like almost like a sporting / game show type affair. I got very much Super Punch Out vibes to it, and I loved it. It was awesome.
Nice.
What else you got?
So I was going to ask you, so they'll probably do new housing in the next expansion, but the housing will probably be based from this expansion. Where do you want it to be? Solution 9?
I mean, I think that would be cool, like having a futuristic looking apartment, but I'll tell you, it can't be the last place, because I went to the last place thinking, man, this is really cool. And then after the events that happens, it changes. I'm like, this is not so cool.
Vibe's not good there, man. You can't
no,
do that.
I was like, God, I want to go here. And this is where I want to like to set my home point and come back and visit. And then by the end of the game, I was like, nope, ain't that.
Vibe's off.
And it can't be. Well, the reason I don't think it'll be Solutions 9, well, I guess it could be technically. There's no market board in Solution 9, which is a real letdown.
I didn't realize that.
There's a summoning bell, but there's no market board, so that's not going to be a place people hang out.
Probably put one in, right?
I guess maybe.
They could also do the Western place.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah,
I forget the name of it. Shaolin or something like that.
Yeah. Anything else?
I'm really bad, dude. The names in this game in Dawntrail, I feel like Yoshi P just smacked his keyboard and said that's their name now. Like some of those words don't even have vowels. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. It took me forever to remember Wook Lamont's name, to be honest with you. And that's really about the only character I remember. Yeah. But yeah, I felt like it stuck the landing. Some of those fight scenes were so epic. I think it's some of the best fight mechanics that I've done. Although I did go back and do old raid content while I was waiting for Dawntrail to come out. And just as I've been filling time, I went back and did the Nier Automata content, like the dungeons from that, and it was awesome. Anything else you want to add to Final Fantasy?
Nope.
I'm trying to race this and get us done by 9 o'clock for you.
That's not going to happen.
No, we could do it. So the next thing we both talked about, Acolyte, and well, the rest of what we're going to be doing is not spoiler because this is all very new. So Acolyte for me, I think it ended stronger than it started. Mm-hmm. It was not my favorite thing, to be honest with you. I just feel like, and I don't know, this isn't really spoilers, but I feel like everything recently has been to change the way we feel about Jedis, and it's been to make the Jedis villains. And I don't know how I feel about that. I will say I thought the character Soul played was great. It was the same guy that played the main star in Squid Games. He learned English specifically for this role, which I thought was super cool.
I didn't know that. That's awesome.
Yeah. And also, I was really upset that there's a certain character they led with in trailers to get me bought into. And then within 2 minutes of the very
Oh,
first
yeah.
episode that character is killed, and I'm like,
But
why?
that character is still present throughout in a
Yes,
way.
but I was just like, what? I will say
I
the wire
agree.
work and the fighting style of this show is great. It's very Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon at moments, and I like that. I will say the character that plays Jason in A Good Place is a very weird casting for me for the role that he is in. But it may be because I'm just thinking Jason from Jacksonville, and it's just hard for me to disconnect. So I'm like, that's what I know him as. Maybe if I went into it not knowing that that character existed elsewhere, I might have been a little bit more sold on him. But by the end of it, I felt like he was good in that role. And then the last thing I will say, go ahead.
So I saw a meme the other day. It's from the final episode where he's like watching his old master, and she's like, "He's here," and it's him. He goes, "Oh, dip." I thought that was hilarious. So funny.
That's so good
because he has the mask on and everything.
Yeah. The last thing I'll say about it is we've always heard in the lore how Sith's lightsabers become red. And this is the first time we've gotten to see how that happens. And I thought it was really cool. But what do you have on the Acolyte?
So I went into it. The trailers, based on the trailers, I was interested. And then, the reviews from credible reviewers were iffy. The show obviously has been review bombed. If you were to go on IMDb before episodes even aired, it was like at a 1.2 audience score. So I'm just gonna say it now. Your audience score means nothing anymore. Like they should just nix that entire feature from sites because people they drive me nuts.
It doesn't help that the director is a woman that is openly gay, and then also the character I believe that either plays Osha. No, not Osha. The girl that played X-23 that was in the show. She is also openly gay, and like I can't help but think that a lot of that played into being review bombed as well.
It's just, I mean, who cares? Like, just watch the show. If you like it, great. If you don't. But honestly, I think every platform should take away audience scores until people can learn to use it properly, or you should have to pass some sort of test. Now, I have seen where on the flip side, people are positively review bombing it with good reviews, but like a lot of them appear to be AI generated. So it's just like, just take it away. Just take it away. We can't, as a society, obviously use this feature responsibly. So just nix it. We don't need it.
Yeah. I feel like you should have to meet certain criteria to leave reviews.
Yeah. And like, this is like a whole other episode we could do, honestly. So I won't say too much because we might want to, but yeah, it's just find a reviewer that you align with from like a site and then follow them or follow a couple. Like, don't just because Bob in Tallahassee says it sucks because a woman made it. Like, ignore Bob. He's an idiot,
Yeah.
But so my whole thing too is people are getting really bent out of shape about it breaking canon, and I'm just gonna say this: Star Wars, and don't get me wrong, I love Star Wars. Okay, Star Wars was made originally for children. Okay, it's owned by Disney, which is primarily the producer of children's movies and TV shows. I don't think Star Wars is for children anymore. I think it's evolved beyond that. But it's entertainment. Was I entertained? Heck yes. That's all I care about. I was entertained. So I did like it. Was it messy? Heck yeah. Like, it was a very clumsy show. They could have done a much better job in organizing some things, and the pacing of it was kind of all over the place with the flashbacks. But I mean, I was entertained, and that was its only purpose, was to entertain me, and it succeeded.
Yeah. And we don't even know if we're getting a second season at this point, so I will be curious to see where the story goes. But I thought it was okay. Was it great? No, but I thought it was okay. Like, I don't regret watching it. Yeah.
What would you give it?
I'd say probably a 6.5 or a 7 for me.
Okay. You mentioned the second season. There's been a kind of a push on social media to renew it from fans. There's been like hashtags for it.
The way it ended, I feel like was set up really well.
Oh, they have to, I feel like. I mean, there's too much potential there. And if Disney wants to go in and what's up?
Well, I was just say, plus there was some reveals that you're just like, okay, well, you revealed that, but where is that going to go? You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
if they reveal, I mean, we can probably spoil it at this point, but I mean, at the very last episode, it reveals Darth Plagueis, right? Which we've always heard of, Darth Plagueis the Wise, right? If that's the only time we ever see him because Disney doesn't renew this show, that's a travesty. Like,
And the
keep
and
it
that
going.
other character.
Oh, well, we'll see that character again.
Yeah.
We already have.
I wish they
But
would have not done that.
I agree with you. I
Yeah.
agree with you. And the other one, Kiadi Mundi.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't want
Yeah.
anybody that we had already seen to be in this.
Right.
But I hope we get a second season. I'm personally okay if the same filmmaker or showrunner does it. I didn't really have a problem with her. She did the show Russian Doll on Netflix, which that first season is top notch. And two of the people that are in that show are in the Acolyte, which I thought was cool.
Oh, okay.
But she does a great job on that show. I think maybe have a little more guidance from like Filoni, perhaps, where
Yeah.
he's like, okay, okay, first season, let's make it a good first or second season,
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, give her the reins to do it again. I don't think they will. I think they'll probably renew it. I think they'll probably cut her out and say that she left the project to work on other things. Just my hunch. So now Venestra, the master, the green lady, that's her wife in real life.
Oh, I didn't know
So
that.
if they do cut her, does she leave as well?
Yeah, I would say so. I don't think she would.
Yeah.
I mean, how could you stay at that point?
Yeah, I don't know. So I mean, I don't really I don't know what's gonna happen. I think we have to get a second season, but I mean Disney's done some weird stuff. Who knows?
Yeah, it is Disney. And then let's talk about The Boys. So this season, actually, I'll let you start because you have a lot of notes. I was just going to briefly give some comments because I just finished the finale today.
Yeah, so I feel like this season of The Boys started strong and then fizzled pretty quickly and then picked up and was strong again. Now, that's not to say it didn't have its moments. I think the Homelander episode specifically was a highlight, which I think it was like episode 4, where he goes back to his origins, kind of his facility where he grew up. But it was kind of messy. And the way I describe it is kind of how the final season of Ted Lasso was. That was a season that where like it felt like none of the characters, like they all had like a different goal and like none of it was like intertwined really. Like you could probably say that I think his name was Colin and Trent Krim kind of had an intertwined storyline.
Yeah.
But I felt like everyone else was like all over. Like Keely's storyline was a mess. Roy, Keely, and Jamie's storyline was kind of weird.
Yeah.
Everything about that last season just didn't feel like the last season. And in my opinion, soured the whole show. Fortunately for the boys, we get another season so they can hopefully stick the landing. But yeah, I don't know. I just kind of thought that this season was the same way. None of the characters were really like aligned. They were having like repeated problems. Huey was being the victim of multiple atrocities throughout the season. I mean, it just kind of felt off. I mean, it wasn't as strong as the other 3 seasons.
Yeah, to me, it felt not focused. You know, I felt like some of the themes they brought in definitely made it relevant to some of the stuff that's going on like currently with America and politics and stuff. I thought they drew that line well. Like, I think that was probably the best part about this season is like the setup. I feel like everything this season was the setup for next season is kind of the vibe I got. I did not care that for the direction I haven't been caring for the direction that they've been taking Butch's character. I do not like how he was in this season because like
he's a full-on villain now.
Yeah, which is I don't like. I like him being an anti-hero, but he is beyond that now, and I just don't. I don't know how I feel about that. And then also the reveal of like what's going on with him and the conversations he's having with individuals was not really a surprise. Like they made it seem like it was this big reveal, and it's like, how did you not know that's what was happening? And then yeah, I don't know. Just overall, it was just okay. Like you know, I thought it finished stronger than it started. Honestly, the only character that I can look at and be like, I really like the direction this character went was probably Mother's Milk. Other than like, him losing a bunch of weight and being almost unrecognizable, which is fine because that was his choice just to get healthy. I do like how he stepped up as a character, and I like how they kind of evolved him. But everybody else is just kind of meh.
I like A-Train's storyline too.
Yeah, which I was surprised we didn't see him in this last episode I watched. It's kind of wild. We also didn't see Ashley either. So I forgot about that. We didn't see after the things that happened. I don't think.
Oh, you mean like after she took the V?
Yeah.
Okay, you're trying to avoid spoilers, and I'm just like, go on in, man. Jump on in.
Yeah, we didn't see her after that. So but anyways,
interesting.
It was okay. I'm excited for next season just because of everything that's set up for the season. I like how it ended with the song playing, and then you see the events that are unfolding, and then they tie it into whatever that other show was called.
Gen V.
Oh gosh, Gen V.
Is it Gen V?
It's Gen V. Okay. Yeah, Gen V.
Yeah, the name for it.
Yeah. So I thought that tie-in was cool. So we'll see where that goes. And then the last thing I think is probably gonna be a quick conversation because you're not completely caught up. House of Dragons. We've both been watching House of the Dragons. I think this season so far is kind of a slow burn, but there's been some big things happen. I'm actually enjoying this season, I think, more than I was the first season. I mean, I like the first season, but I've just been enjoying this a lot more because you could tell everything is coming to a head essentially. At some point there's going to be, which there's been some pretty big things that's happened already, but it's really starting to build. But overall the season I don't really have, I will say the only thing that I'm not a huge fan of is the direction that Damien's characters went. Like this season so far. Now I'm assuming it'll be different towards by the finale, but he's just been off playing Luigi's Mansion essentially is what he's been doing. It's just been really strange.
It has been strange. I wonder what's going on there. This season's been great. I remember when we watched the episode a few weeks ago when like the war really kind of took off and Aegon was badly injured. Because, okay, back up a little bit. We didn't watch Game of Thrones. We've watched one season of it and part of season 2, but we didn't watch it when it aired. So like we kind of missed out on those water cooler talking moments, that happened with that show. Yeah. And when that episode ended, I thought, holy crap, I think we just watched one of the greatest episodes of television. And then like I went to IGN and they're like 10 out of 10. I was like, oh heck yeah, we did, So I was like, this is great.
You're the second person that told me that. I had a buddy of mine call me and said, I think that's the best episode that's ever been done in this and Game of Thrones. And I was like, it was good, but no, there's major things that happen.
Phenomenal. Now I know some of the Game of Thrones ones, and I'm sure that they.
But if you take the dragons out of it, like if you just remove the dragons alone, like what was great about the episode?
I mean, Aemond almost killing Aegon. I mean,
on
the ground
on a dragon.
Well, he had his sword out. I think he was gonna finish the job. I'm loving it. I can't wait to keep. Yeah, you're good. I can't wait to see where it goes. I did have this is kind of spinning off, not House of the Dragon related, but we didn't talk about The Bear. Are you watching The Bear?
I haven't started season 3 yet.
Okay, we're almost done with season 3.
I've heard mixed things about that, which is unfortunate because season 1 and 2
It's
great.
Good. It's great.
Is it? Okay.
Keep watching. Yeah.
Well, honestly, after I'll need a good show to. Is it weekly release? They released it all at once, didn't they?
They're all out. Yeah.
Okay, maybe I'll watch that next.
Yeah. All right. What are you looking forward to, Travis?
So me?
Oh, were you gonna talk about House of the Dragon some more? Sorry, did I cut you off?
No, you're good. I just want to make sure that you finish your thoughts about it because I had interrupted you and said that somebody else had told me it was like the best episode ever.
No, my thought. I'm good. Yeah.
Okay. But no, for me, actually, tomorrow I am leaving to go see Senior Maxwell in Raleigh. I am going to support him at GalaxyCon. So if anybody is listening, it's from the Raleigh area. Myself and Jonathan Maxwell will be there. He'll have a booth, and I'll be helping him sell and peddle his arts and goods in Artist Alley at GalaxyCon. So I'm excited about that. And then I'm also really excited about the thing. Well, I'm really excited to see Maxwell, but the thing I'm also really excited about to see is the thing that you're looking forward to. So what is it?
Yeah, so mine's not traveling or anything, but kind of traveling to the movie theater to see Deadpool and Wolverine this weekend, hopefully. I have intentions of seeing it this weekend, but it might be early next week. So we'll see. But I'm excited
I'll have
for
to
it.
wait till next week, I think, because I'll be at GalaxyCon all weekend, so I won't have time.
Oh, you can find an evening for you and him to go see it.
No, I mean we're working till we work from like 10 to 8, and then after that, by the time that happens, we're ready to just go to bed. So
Gotcha. But yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine. I think I'm hoping that this will be a turning point for like the Marvel movies, and we will kind of see a
he's the Marvel Jesus,
increase in
according to
quality.
himself.
He is Marvel Jesus, and he had to explain to Kevin Feige what pegging was. Which for listeners at home, Travis, do you mind telling them what that is?
It means taking.
No.
Oh, my bad. I will say the one thing that I've realized based on this movie, don't get me wrong, I think Ryan Reynolds is a marketing genius. Like, it's great. However, and I think Kevin Feige has said this since, that he may consider only showing one trailer for like movies going forward, because this one has had 4 separate trailers and each one has revealed something new.
Yeah.
And there's been some spoilers come out that I didn't want to know. And in the trailer, and I'm just like, why? Like, why do that to me? Have you seen the newest trailer?
I have. The person, the thing. I'm not gonna say anything else.
Well, the person and the other version of Deadpool, like, I did not want to see those two. I'm just like, because that other person's been very strategic about if that person's been asked in an interview, are you in this movie? No, I wish they would have called me, but I look forward to seeing it in theaters. Like, constant. And then they just released that person in the trailer. And I'm like, why go through? Like, she did a great job of covering up that she was in it. And then the trailer just has her in it.
This was reported earlier today that Marvel planted fake leaks to hide the Deadpool and the Wolverine's biggest cameos.
So you saying that maybe the things we're seeing in the trailer aren't actually there? Oh, you're saying the other way around. Yeah, I also had read that supposedly Matthew McConaughey is going to be like the Western Deadpool.
God, that's good. I hope so.
I want Lady Deadpool to be just an ugly woman version of Ryan Reynolds. Like, that's what everybody thinks it's going to be his wife. I just want it to be him. That's what I want it to be. But anyways, go ahead.
I'm reading here too that Ryan Reynolds said today that Taylor Swift will not be in the film.
Yeah, supposedly
she probably will be.
Supposedly she was going to cameo as the Marvel character Sparkle, I think is the character's name. Or something.
Dazzler, I thought.
Dazzler, yeah, maybe that's it. I was close.
Yeah. I bet she's in it.
All right.
No, actually, I bet she's not, because I think that they would have marketed that to sell 1 billion more tickets.
No, but I bet you there'll be a Taylor Swift song in the movie.
Oh, that'd be funny.
Yeah. All right. So we're gonna get into the last part, and it's just real quick. And you may have already forgotten to put one because you didn't write one down.
I've been thinking about this.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start. This is our pick of the week section. For those of you that are new to listening, this is where we pick one of the top things that we recommend you try. For me, it's easy. Final Fantasy XIV. In my opinion, there's never been a better time to start. There's some really great content. There's some great quality of life things. We didn't even talk about the graphical upgrades for the new area. Looks phenomenal. But yeah, it's a really good time to start. Too bad you didn't think of that earlier in pre-order, where you could get the trinket that allows you 30% boost in levels.
I do have that.
Well, no, I'm not talking about you. I'm just talking about our listeners.
Oh,
they won't start
talking to me. I was like, I do have that, but
yeah, me too. It only works till 90, so it ain't gonna do you any good after 90. But yeah, that's my pick of the week. Final Fantasy XIV, great MMO if you're looking for something to play. And I'll say, if you played MMOs in the past, the only thing I'll tell you, especially like WoWs and other games like that, if you want to level a new character, in Final Fantasy, it's different. You can just have one character and then you just level jobs. So anytime you want to do something different, you just switch your job. You're now doing that class. So you don't have to roll a new character and go from 1 to whatever every single time. So it's been great. Some classes even start higher, like Gunbreaker starts at 60. So just I would say out of MMOs, those Yoshi P and all those developers and just the people at Square Enix are the best at listening to the community. So yeah, definitely would recommend that. What about you, Justin? What's your pick of the week? Ba-da-da.
I'm gonna go with Jedi Survivor. I hate that it took me over a year to go back and finish it, but man, that game Very solid, especially at
The
the
story's
end.
great. I was telling my friend Alex that I wish that would have been a live action story. Like, I'm glad that I got to play and experience it, but it was so good that I felt like I wish it would have been a live action experience. And I was really hoping.
Will we see Cal Kestis in live action?
Well,
you think?
There was a lot of rumors that he was going to show up in Ahsoka, but he didn't because he's in that timeline. But we did not. But that's not to say if we get a season 2 of Ahsoka, he might not show up there. But I was really hoping we would see him because I think I think if they brought him into live action canon Star Wars stuff, he'd be phenomenal. Because that character in general, like, not only is Cal Kestis great, but the actor that plays him in the game's great as well. So
agreed.
All right. Anything else before we go off here? The one thing I will say, Justin's been doing a great job about writing some new articles, putting some content on our website. We now also, Justin has wrote into our website something to start aggregating more news onto our site. I know a lot of times we talk about, subscribing to us, on your favorite podcasting platform, follow us on social media. We very rarely mention to visit our website, but we actually have a website, nerdsofmikes.com. That will link you to all the different ways you can follow us. But in addition to, we also have reviews up there, articles, content. So feel free to just visit our website and see all the things. And I know Justin has said he's going to try to start writing more content for the website. I'm also going to try to start do that, but I might start uploading more video content to the website. I like to start doing video reviews while you do because I know you enjoy more of the writing where I prefer to do more of the videos. So maybe we'll try to work that into the website a little bit more as well. So
definitely.
Anything else to add before we peace out?
Nope.
Well, we appreciate everyone listening to this episode 151 of Nerds with Mics. And until next time, we'll see you. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.